Okay, so I hope you guys are doing well. Welcome back to another Kaiju number 8 video. In this one, we're going to discuss UNIPARTS and basically the best gear sets to farm. And we're going to kind of get into who for what set. Obviously, there's like one better set for everyone. I'm going to probably do a build guide for everyone, for every 5-star in one video. But I'm going to basically talk about 3 of the best sets for you to farm right now. And I'm going to explain why. So if you like the videos, leave a like, would greatly appreciate it. And then also subscribe if you haven't yet. Got a lot more Kaiju content coming. We got the raid tomorrow. So keep in mind, this is before the raid. Maybe tomorrow some things change. But we're going to get into 3 of the more like generic sets, right? Keep in mind, you never really want to cap over 100% crit rate. That's kind of the rule of thumb. Maybe the enemies have crit res, but as of right now, it doesn't really seem like it. We can't really know. So because of that rule of thumb, never try and overcap over 100% crit rate. Everything else should go into crit damage, right? Now, for the most part, I'm considering the 5-stars with their weapons. So like Reno gets crit rate. Kaiju doesn't have it, but he does get some extra stats. Then we got also, like, he doesn't get anything. So, you know, crit rate or crit damage, right? Usually you try and build with crit rate or crit damage. But, you know, they really decided, why not just make Reno the one who basically is the only one getting a crit stat? So let's kind of get into the DPS sets, right? I would say the first sets you want to farm are the DPS sets. So the 2 are going to be Lizard type Unipart A and then Fungal type Unipart A. These are the 2. Now it's going to depend on the unit, and it's also going to depend on your partner. For example, Hoshina basically makes it at dupe 1 that you're not going to really need the crit rate gear because he gives 20% crit rate to the battle buddy. And you want to use him with Reno, for example, because, well, let's just kind of recap. He gives crit damage. Reno gives himself also crit rate. Hoshina gives extra crit rate. Hoshina could give the damage, crit damage from the ult, gets extra speed, right? Normal attack damage, right? Single target and blast attack, the 2 types of damage that Reno does. So literally perfect partner for Reno. And then he already gives himself crit rate here. And then he has crit rate here. So he's maxed out already. Keep that in mind. So because of that, you want to make sure he's built with crit damage. Now, I have him on crit rate because this was before I realized Hoshina gave crit rate. But, you know, the one you want to farm is going to either depend on what they need. So, for example, for Reno and then for Mina, you're going to want crit damage. The reason being because Mina also gives herself 100% crit rate when she's maxed out on focus, right? So if you see here, 100% crit rate when she's maxed out on focus. So because of that, your ult is going to be a guaranteed crit. So why would you put crit rate on her when she already has maxed out for that ult? You're going to go max crit damage as you can in terms of the set, right? That's the main thing. So Mina and Reno are mainly the ones with crit damage. But then we got Narumi, we got Kaiju number 8, Kikoru, who are going to more so want crit rate. And I genuinely, Shinonome is like, I mean, she's going to want crit rate, but, you know, I don't really, it's unfortunate. I think she was shafted. I really do. But yeah, and also Hoshina could also go for some good crit rate. But he's also going to like be pretty high on crit rate. So it's going to depend, right? You don't really, like, even at 90%, you're at a good range. So, you know, once you get to that 80 to 100% range, you can start focusing on crit damage. And focusing on crit damage is going to let you get higher ceiling, whereas crit rate is going to give you a higher floor. So keep that in mind at least. And then we got the units that want crit rate. So like we said, like these units are going to want that crit rate, but you know, you don't want to really overcap. So we got 42% here. So you never really want to get too high on that crit rate. But those are the 2 main sets. You're going to kind of go between and you kind of decide which one you're going to run. Oh, I forgot I got to do. Maybe I'm going to feed it in. But you decide which one you're going to want to farm between the 2 main gear sets right now. But I think crit damage is probably going to be the better one for raid, obviously. Because Reno is going to want it, very high damage unit. And then also Mina is going to want it, who probably is going to be the raid boss, probably, my guess. So yeah, those are the main DPS sets. Now, obviously for the main stats, you're going to want to try and get, like, early game, I don't think it's going to matter too much. We're going to do a more main stat video later on. But, you know, does it show where we could, I don't think it shows. Maybe someone could let me know where we could see it. But essentially, anything like attack, crit rate, crit damage, all charge rate isn't actually that bad, to be honest. And also getting like the specific damage, so shot or ice damage would be good, right? Anything like that, anything to increase their damage is good, right? So that's it for the main DPS. Now I want to talk about the supports. The main set that I would kind of recommend, and this is the other set. So you got the 2 DPS sets, either crit rate or crit damage, depending on your main DPS. The other set is going to be this one, right? The Wyvern type Unipart A, because it's going to give the extra attack when you ult and 10% extra speed, which is going to be very good for support. supports. So this one's going to be very good. Also that combat skill, it's going to depend, right? By the way, keep that in mind. This one's good for Hoshina, but it would not be good for someone like Ryo because you're not using the skill 2, right? You're just not. You're using the skill 1 in his ult, not his skill 2. So keep that in mind. For him, maybe something that gives him the extra ult gauge will be better. But like rule of thumb, especially because Hoshina, and also, where is she? I didn't build her, but Mina could both make use of it. That's the one you would farm for supports, right? And then there's the more niche sets, right? There's the more niche sets. So you got for Isao, you want this one, right? So there's like more niche sets, but the two main ones, or the three, I guess, are the Lizard and Fungal for your DPS, depending on which type, right? For someone like Reno and Mina who give themselves crit rate, you give them crit damage. And for those who have less crit rate, or someone who gives himself crit damage like Kaiju, you kind of want to max it out so this does a lot of damage. You're going to give them more crit rate to get that guarantee. That's kind of the main thing for DPS. And then I would say your two, like the set you farm after that is going to be the one that we went over for Hoshina. And then you got your more niche sets. So you got the one for Isao. And the thing is, it's only good for Isao. So the best thing is to farm the gear sets at first that help the most units, right? So crit damage has 2 units, crit rate has like 4 units. So it's like those are the two best. I think start with crit rate, but obviously if you have Reno, which I think most people do, but I've seen some people who don't. But if you have Reno, start with crit damage, then afterwards go to crit rate. But, right, like I said, Isao has his own, and then someone like Minase and Ryo, what they could use is, let me find it, it should be the, trying to find it, this one? Yes, this one. So this one, right, giving the extra ult charge rate, HP, this one's going to be huge. Sure, this bottom part is not the best, but it's going to be very good for Ryo because his whole thing is about ulting. And then for Minase, she wants the HP, she wants the ult, so it's going to be very good for her because she's going to be able to heal more, and then it's going to make her more tanky. So overall, those are like the 4 sets. Now there is this one. This one is, I mean, the extra SP is nice. That's going to be good for Isao. But this one, right? Could I find it? I think it's this. Nope, I don't know where it is. Yes. So when you're attacking someone with a debuff or status element, you get 25% damage dealt. It's just kind of rough because that means you need to have a debuffer, and the only like really good debuffer right now is Kikoru, right? The problem is she's not applying a debuff before she ults, and then also Reno on his ult. But you want to have this damage available to you before you ult. And also I don't like effect hit rate. I much rather crit rate or crit damage. So for me personally, I don't think this one's going to be too good on Kikoru because it does kind of like you need to fall back on someone else debuffing beforehand, which I think is ass personally. I don't think it's that good. So try and stay away from that one. You have your 2 main DPS sets, and then you have the one giving the damage boost, and then you have your more niche ones, like I said, for your good units like Isao, Ryo, and Minase. Overall, the units I leveled up plus Mina are the ones you're going to kind of be using, and then Shinonome, right? There's basically, in my opinion, 12 very usable units, then there's some very niche ones, but you know, try and stick to the main DPS sets for the beginning. Farm your DPS sets first between Lizard and Fungal, and then afterwards go into the damage increase set with the extra speed for someone like Hoshina or Mina, and then afterwards you could get your sets for Minase, and Ryo, and also Isao, right? That's kind of last in my opinion. I think starting with DPS is better because it's going to first of all let you grind more, and then let you clear Fierce Battle quicker, and then afterwards you're going to probably have enough to a certain point, and then afterwards you're going to be able to start farming the more niche sets like the support sets, the 3 that I mentioned. So very quick, I just want to make sure it's kind of clear. This is honestly a pretty obvious video, but I had a lot of people asking, so I wanted to kind of make it clear the order of what sets to farm. So I'm pretty sure I made that pretty clear. If you have any questions, let me know down below. I'll see you guys in the next one. And yeah, that's going to be it from me. Love y'all. Thank you for the support.